I stand frozen in the doorway of Caleb's hotel room, my hand still gripping the brass handle as though it might anchor me to reality. The scene before me refuses to make sense, like a puzzle assembled all wrong, pieces jammed together that were never meant to fit. A half-empty glass sits on the nightstand, amber liquid catching the light, strange white residue clinging to its rim. My gaze drifts to the rumpled bed where Caleb lies, my fiancé, the man I'm supposed to marry tomorrow. His tuxedo shirt is partly unbuttoned, his eyes struggling to focus on me. And hovering over him with smudged lipstick and a cold smile that doesn't reach her eyes is Madison, my sister. The wedding planner's checklist lies abandoned on the floor nearby, tomorrow's date circled in red. My wedding day. Our wedding day. Ava, Caleb slurs, trying to sit up. Something's wrong. I don't feel. Shh, Madison says, placing a finger against his lips. You've had a little too much to drink, that's all. But I know Caleb. One scotch is his limit before any important event. Always has been. Time slows as I notice Tyler, Caleb's best man, standing solemnly by the window, his phone held at chest level, recording. His face is grim, jaw clenched tight. What's happening? I manage, my voice sounding distant to my own ears. Madison turns to me with a dismissive laugh that cuts like glass. It was mutual. He's been hitting on me this whole time. She tosses her hair styled almost identical to mine now, I realize with a chill. You know how men get cold feet. Before I can respond, my father pushes past me into the room, his face contorted with rage. What the hell is going on here? The words explode from him, filling the space. Behind him, my mother gasps, her hand flying to her throat. Oh my goodness, she whispers, then immediately. Madison, honey, what happened to you? To her, not to Caleb, disoriented on the bed, not to me, standing shattered in the doorway. And that's when I know. This wasn't impulsive. This was calculated. The realization punches through me like a physical blow, stealing my breath. Suddenly, warning signs from the past 3 months flash through my mind with painful clarity. My hesitation to introduce Caleb to my family. The knot in my stomach I dismissed as nerves. Madison at our first dinner, wearing a dress cut too low, leaning across the table toward Caleb, ignoring her own date. Her lingering touches on his arm when passing the salt. Her pointed questions about his recent promotion. Senior investment advisor at 32? That's impressive. Ava always did know how to pick the ambitious ones. My mother smiling. Madison has always had an eye for potential too. I dismissed my unease as paranoia. Family loyalty would prevail. It had to. Now, watching Madison's practiced expression of innocence, I recognized the familiar pattern. The same look she wore when she accidentally crashed my high school prom. When she happened to run into my college boyfriend during spring break, Tyler steps forward, phone extended toward my father. You need to see this, Mr. Richardson. He presses play. The video shows the hotel bar from earlier this evening. Madison approaches a table where Caleb sits alone reviewing his speech cards. She slides beside him, all smiles. Orders drinks. When Caleb looks away, her hand moves over his glass, dropping something in, stirring quickly. The footage continues, showing Caleb becoming increasingly disoriented. His attempts to stand, to call for help. Madison's arm around his waist, guiding him toward the elevator. Let me help you to your room. My father's face drains of color as understanding dawns. It's not what it looks like, Madison begins, her voice taking on the wounded tone she's perfected over years. He asked me to meet him. The sound of flesh meeting, flesh cracks through the room. My father's palm connects with Madison's cheek the first time in 29 years he's ever struck either of his daughters. My mother screams, rushing to shield Madison. Robert, how could you? How could I? He roars. How could she? How could you still defend this? The door behind us opens again as Caleb's parents arrive, drawn by the commotion. Their expressions harden with each passing second as they take in the scene. Hotel security appears next, the manager trailing behind them. Is there a problem here? I can't answer. Silent tears stream down my face as I watch my wedding day implode before it even begins. The careful planning, the tasteful invitations, the vows I'd written and rewritten until every word felt perfect, all of it meaningless now. What would you do if your own sister betrayed you at the moment that should have been your happiest? Would you forgive family for the unforgivable? Or would you draw a line that could never be crossed again? Stay with me, because my response will challenge everything you believe about family bonds. I stare at my wedding dress hanging on the closet door, its ivory lace catching the morning light that filters through the hotel suite curtains. Untouched, unworn, a beautiful ghost of what should have been. The wedding coordinator, Jeanette, sits across from me, her clipboard resting on her lap, her eyes filled with the sympathy I can't bear to acknowledge. We can postpone, Ava. Everything can be rescheduled when you're ready. When I'm ready. As if there could ever be a time when I'd be ready to face the guests after what happened last night. My phone buzzes again the 15th time in the past hour. I don't need to look to know it's another relative or friend asking what happened, why the church doors remained locked this morning, why no one received the traditional wedding day has arrived message I'd scheduled to send automatically. Caleb's medical report came back, my father says, entering the suite with heavy footsteps. He looks decades older than he did yesterday, the lines around his eyes deeper, his shoulders hunched forward as if carrying a weight they weren't designed to bear. Traces of Rohypnol in his system. Clear as day. The knowledge sinks into me like a stone dropping through still water. I knew it last night, but hearing it confirmed makes my chest constrict. And the security footage? Hotel manager just showed it to me. Dad's voice breaks. Madison arrived at 6:42 p.m., 20 minutes before she was supposed to meet us for the rehearsal dinner. She went straight to the bar where Caleb was reviewing his speech. The words hang in the air between us as Jeanette quietly excuses herself, squeezing my hand before she leaves. I don't squeeze back. I can't feel anything but a cold rage crystallizing in my core. I need to see something, I say, reaching for my laptop. Dad watches as I open Caleb's cloud storage heist password saved in my browser from the time he asked me to help organize our honeymoon photos. Years of text messages back up automatically. I type Madison in the search bar and my breath catches. Dozens of messages, going back nearly 2 years. I'm just venting about the divorce, one reads. You're so easy to talk to, not like most guys. Another. Bumped into you at the coffee shop this morning. What a coincidence. We should grab lunch sometime when Ava's busy with work. And more recently, you're too good for her, you know. She doesn't appreciate what she has. I click on location data attached to some of the texts. Coffee shops near Caleb's office. The gym he frequents on Tuesdays. The bookstore where he buys his professional journals. None of these were coincidences. Look at this, I whisper, turning the screen toward Dad. She's been tracking him, following him, creating accidental meetings for months. My hands tremble as I open my phone gallery and begin scrolling backward through photos of Madison and me. There 3 months ago, her hair still its natural blonde. Then 2 months ago, the same chestnut brown as mine. Her clothing style shifting subtly. The same shade of lipstick. Even her laugh changing to mirror my own. Dad, I whisper, can you get Mom's family photo albums? He returns 20 minutes later, his expression grim. We spread the albums across the bed holidays, birthdays, vacations. I see it now, the pattern I was too close to notice. Mom's arm always around Madison. Madison always in the center. My achievements noted with a cursory, that's nice, dear, while Madison's smallest accomplishments warranted celebration dinners. Dad's phone rings. He answers, listens, then his face drains of color. I'll be right there, he says, disconnecting. What now? I ask, though part of me doesn't want to know. I need to check something in your old bedroom at the house. His voice is tight. The hotel staff found items in Madison's room, things that seemed personal. They wanted to know if they were stolen. While he's gone, my phone buzzes incessantly. A text from Tyler. Madison's refusing to leave the hotel, demanding a family meeting to explain her side. Almost simultaneously, a message appears from Aunt Caroline. Your mother called. Says this is all just a terrible misunderstanding. What's going on, sweetie? Then from cousin Rebecca, I always knew Madison had issues, but drugging Caleb? That can't be true. And from Uncle Stephen, family sticks together, Ava. Whatever this is, we can work through it. The realization hits me like a physical blow. They're already rewriting the narrative. By tonight, it will be a misunderstanding. By tomorrow, perhaps I'll be the villain for not forgiving family. A knock at the door reveals Caleb's parents, their faces set with determination. We've spoken with Caleb, his father says. The wedding will still happen, Ava. When you're ready, not when they expect. Behind them stands Tyler, his phone in hand. The groomsmen are handling guest communications. Standard message. Private family emergency. Details forthcoming. Gifts can be collected at the reception venue. Some of your guests are already taking sides, Tyler adds quietly. Your college roommate Lisa is defending you fiercely in the group chat. Your mother's bridge club friends are less supportive. Your father has secured a private room, Mrs. Jenkins adds, her hand firm on my shoulder. For immediate family only, away from prying eyes and wagging tongues. Dad returns, his face ashen, a small box in his hands. Found these in Madison's overnight bag at the house. He opens it to reveal my childhood diary, the pearl earrings Grandma gave me for my 16th birthday, and photos of Caleb I'd kept in my old desk. She was using your memories to cack to him. A text message lights up my phone from Caleb this time. A photo of a handwritten note. Nothing changes. I love you. We face this together. The hotel manager appears at the door. Miss Richardson, I've arranged for a delayed ceremony at no additional cost whenever you feel ready. This situation is unprecedented in my 20 years here. Strength floods back into my limbs. I stand, smoothing my wrinkled clothes from yesterday. Tell me where the family room is. 20 minutes later, I walk through the door of a small conference room. Madison sits at the table, eyes red-rimmed but calculating. Mom stands behind her, hand protectively on her shoulder. Aunts, uncles, and grandparents fill the remaining seats, their expressions ranging from concern to confusion. Oh, Ava, Madison begins, her voice catching with practiced vulnerability. I'm so sorry about this misunderstanding. Madison was going through something. Mom interrupts. She's been struggling since her divorce and with the wedding stress. I say nothing. Instead, I connect my tablet to the television mounted on the wall. The room falls silent as security footage begins to play. Madison at the bar, her hand over Caleb's drink. The white powder dissolving as she stirs with a swizzle stick. Caleb's growing disorientation, his attempts to call for help. Madison leading him to the elevator. The footage ends. No one speaks. Uncle Stephen stares at his hands. Aunt Caroline covers her mouth. Grandma Edith's eyes narrow in a way I've never seen before. Mom attempts to speak, but Grandma Edith raises her hand. No, Linda, not this time. I look directly at my mother, then at each family member in turn. This is what happened. Not a misunderstanding. Not a mistake. Not a cry for help. This is what she chose to do to Meadow Houston the night before my wedding. Madison's performance crumbles under the weight of irrefutable evidence. The tears dry instantly as her eyes harden with a resentment I recognize from childhood, but have never seen so naked, so unveiled. My voice doesn't waver. Not anymore. Because sometimes what you thought was paranoia turns out to be your intuition, desperately trying to protect you from those who should have loved you most. My phone buzzes again, the 5th time in 20 minutes. I don't need to check the screen to know it's another relative with an opinion I never asked for. Outside my hotel window, dawn breaks over the town where Madison and I both grew up, a place where news travels faster than light. The venue manager had called yesterday afternoon. Miss Richardson, I hate to ask, but we need to confirm, are we proceeding with cancellation details? Her voice had been carefully neutral, already assuming the worst. The local gossip mill had clearly been working overtime. I pick up the device, thumb hovering over the power button. Madison's latest Instagram post glows accusingly on the screen. A childhood photo of us in matching dresses, her arm thrown over my smaller shoulders. Sometimes we hurt the ones we love without meaning to. praying for understanding and forgiveness during this difficult family time. The calculated performance makes my stomach turn. 78 sympathetic comments below, most from people who haven't bothered to ask what actually happened. I silence the phone and slide it into the nightstand drawer, shutting away the noise. The wedding dress hangs by the window, catching morning light. 20,000 hand-sewn beads. 6 months of alterations. One sister who tried to ensure I'd never wear it. A gentle knock interrupts my thoughts. Ava? It's not the voice I expect. It's Chaplain Thomas. Do you have a moment? I hesitate, half expecting to find my mother standing there uninvited, another album of Madison's childhood photos clutched in her hands. She'd appeared at my door at dawn, flipping through faded images. Look how sweet she was, she'd insisted, as though baby pictures could erase drugging my fiancé. The hotel chaplain waits in the sitting area of my suite, his weathered hands folded patiently in his lap. He doesn't rush to fill the silence as I settle across from him. The hotel manager mentioned what happened, he says finally. I thought you might appreciate someone to talk to who isn't involved. Are you here to tell me about forgiveness? My voice sounds sharper than intended. He smiles slightly. I'm here to talk about commitment, the kind that matters when everything else falls apart. Something in his tone reaches through my anger. For the next hour, we discuss what marriage vows actually mean, not the flowery promises about sunshine and roses, but the harder pledges about standing together when the world turns hostile. Your wedding day is just one day, he says before leaving. Your marriage is every day that follows. The wedding coordinator's voicemail plays through the room speaker. We completely understand if you want to postpone. Just confirm by noon and we'll handle the notifications. Postpone. The word hangs in the air like surrender, like letting Madison decide even this. I reach for a notepad and begin to write. Not the vows I'd rehearsed for months, but new ones that acknowledge what we've already weathered. What commitment actually looks like when tested by fire instead of merely promised in theory. My phone rings again, the hotel room's landline this time. It's Caleb's doctor. His system is clear of the sedative, she confirms. He's still experiencing some effects, but he's coherent. If he feels able, there's no medical reason he can't participate in the ceremony. I thank her and hang up, my decision crystallizing. Postponing means letting Madison control the narrative for weeks or months. It means giving power to someone who has already stolen too much. There will be a wedding today, just not the one I planned. Family forgives, Ava. My mother's voice carries that familiar note of emotional blackmail as she barges into the bridal preparation room, Madison trailing behind her like a shadow. Your sister has made a terrible mistake, but a mistake implies something unintentional. I interrupt, meeting my sister's gaze in the mirror. I've watched the video 17 times now. There was nothing temporary or unintended about what you did. Madison steps forward, eyes brimming with tears that never quite fall. I wasn't thinking clearly. I've been so lost lately, and seeing you so happy when my own marriage failed. Stop. The word isn't loud, but it silences the room. You drugged my fiancé. You recorded it. You planned it for months. I turn from the mirror to face them directly. This isn't about forgiveness, it's about consequences. Madison's rehearsed remorse hardens into something uglier. You always think you're better than everyone. Perfect Ava, who never makes mistakes. The wedding coordinator appears at the doorway, her professional smile firmly in place. I'm afraid I'll need to ask you both to leave. We have security waiting to escort you to your car. You can't be serious. My mother's voice rises. I'm the mother of the bride. Not today. You're not. The words slip out before I can stop them, but I find I don't regret them. The coordinator doesn't flinch as she firmly guides them both toward the door. I catch a glimpse of Tyler standing in the hallway, arms crossed, 2 other groomsmen flanking him like sentries. They've taken it upon themselves to form an impromptu security detail around the ceremony space protection I never imagined needing at my own wedding. After they're gone, Eleanor Jenkins, Caleb's mother, steps in quietly, the wedding dress draped carefully over her arms. May I help? She asks, and the simple kindness nearly breaks me. The chapel looks different than I imagined. with guests clustered on only one side. Empty spaces mark where my mother's family should be sitting. My father waits in the hallway, eyes red-rimmed but resolve evident in his straight shoulders. "You don't have to do this today," he says softly. "No one would blame you for waiting." I would. I straighten his tie, a gesture that feels both ordinary and profound. This isn't the wedding I planned, but it's the marriage we've already started building. He nods, understanding more than I expected. "I failed you with Madison. I saw what she was becoming, and I thought staying neutral was the right thing. You're here now," I say, taking his arm. "That matters more." The doors open. Caleb stands at the altar, paler than normal but steady. Tyler and the groomsmen form a protective semicircle behind him, their expressions somber but determined. One of them, James, I think, scans the guests as if expecting trouble. My father and I move down the aisle with measured steps. This isn't the triumphant procession I'd imagined, but there's quiet dignity in simply showing up when running away would be easier. The chaplain acknowledges the unusual circumstances with grace, speaking about commitment as something proven rather than merely promised. When Caleb takes my hands, his are warm and sure. "I didn't write these vows for today," he says quietly, "just for me. But they're more true now than they would have been yesterday." As we exchange rings, the chaplain calls for a moment of silence for those whose absence is felt today. The quiet speaks volumes about what family should mean versus what it sometimes is. After the pronouncement, my father embraces Caleb fiercely. "I'm so sorry," he whispers. Caleb shakes his head. "Not your burden to carry." We turn to face our diminished but determined gathering, not the wedding I dreamed of, but perhaps the one that honestly reflects the marriage we're building. A union tested before it even began, stronger for having faced the worst together rather than apart. Sometimes love isn't about perfect beginnings. It's about choosing to stand together when walking away would be easier. The plane banks slightly, sunlight catching my wedding ring and sending prisms dancing across the tray table. I flex my fingers, still getting used to the weight of the band. Beside me, Caleb shifts in his sleep, his face relaxed for the first time in days. The gentle rise and fall of his chest steadies me as we soar toward the Bahamas, toward what should be pure happiness. "Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing in Nassau in approximately 20 minutes, the pilot announces. Caleb stirs, blinking away sleep. His hand finds mine, thumb absently turning my wedding ring. "Hey, Mrs. Jenkins." The name feels right, even if everything surrounding its acquisition has gone sideways. "Hey yourself." His expression turns serious. "We need to talk about what happens when we get back." "Not now," I say softly. "We have 6 days. Madison and my mother can wait. But their presence lingers between us even at 30,000 feet. Boundaries. The word has taken on new meaning since watching Tyler's video footage. I never imagined needing to defend myself against my own sister, my own mother. The resort welcomes us with expected fanfare. Champagne, flower leaves, and staff calling us newlyweds with practiced enthusiasm. Our suite door sports a "just married" sign in curling script. Inside, rose petals form a path to a king-size bed. It should feel magical. Instead, it feels like we're actors in someone else's romantic comedy. Caleb stands at the balcony, staring at the ocean. I keep replaying it in my head. I join him, our shoulders touching. I know. I was so confused. One minute I was in the bar going over my speech, and then his voice cracks. "I knew something was wrong. I tried to call you." My stomach twists, remembering Madison's words. It was mutual. The easiest lie, designed to shatter us both. That night, Caleb thrashes in his sleep, calling out. I catch fragments, stop and please, and once, my name, desperate and questioning. I wake him gently, his skin clammy under my palm. "She was there," he whispers. "In the dream, wearing your perfume." I hold him until his breathing steadies, until the demons retreat. In the morning, I delete every social media app from my phone. 6 days of peace. We've earned it. But peace proves elusive. By day 3, the messages find us anyway. 7 voicemails from my mother since breakfast, I tell Caleb as we return from snorkeling. 2 from Aunt Carol, 1 from Uncle Pete. Caleb's jaw tightens. Family messengers? Bingo. I scroll through text notifications. Oh, and apparently Madison has started therapy and deeply regrets her temporary lapse in judgment. Caleb's laugh is sharp and humorless. Temporary? She spent 3 months setting that up. The hotel concierge approaches us in the lobby. Mrs. Jenkins, a package arrived for you. Inside our room, I open the envelope to find childhood photos. Madison and me making snow angels, riding bikes, holding hands at the state fair. A handwritten note reads, "Remember who she really is. Family forgives. Love, Mom." I let the photos fall to the floor. She still doesn't get it. But worse news arrives that afternoon. Madison has called Caleb's firm, claiming to need to speak with him about a family emergency. That's it, Caleb says, voice dangerously quiet. This ends now. We spend the evening crafting a response not just to Madison, but to the situation. I write an email to my extended family, clear and unapologetic. My words are measured but firm. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not a mistake. This was a deliberate attempt to drug my husband and destroy my marriage. We will be taking time away from family gatherings for 1 year while we heal. Caleb blocks Madison's number, email, and social accounts while I watch. The definitiveness of each click brings a strange mixture of pain and relief. I need to see my father when we get back, I say. Alone, without Mom or Madison. Caleb nods. Whatever you need. On our last day, the hotel delivers a gift basket. Inside is a card from my father, containing 2 new SIM cards with a note. New numbers, new start, love, Dad. News filters through, despite our defenses. Madison has been asked to leave my parents' home. Dad has started seeing a therapist to understand his role in enabling her behavior over the years. Extended family members who initially believed Madison's version have begun to apologize after seeing the video evidence. Our wedding photos arrive in my inbox on our final day. Beautiful despite everything. Tyler captured moments of genuine joy amid the wreckage. Dad's proud smile as he walked me down the aisle. Caleb's eyes locking with mine as we spoke our vows. The small but loyal gathering of guests who chose to stand with us. We look happy, Caleb says, studying the images over my shoulder. We were, I realize. We are. Back home, wedding gifts wait in our apartment. Reminders of those who believed in us enough to send them despite everything. Dad arrives for dinner our first night back. Alone, but carrying a folder of financial documents. Madison's trust fund is frozen, he says without preamble. The money your grandmother left was meant for education and a down payment on a home. Not. He trails off, unable to name what Madison tried to do. And Mom? I ask, though I already know. Dad's face crumples momentarily before he regains control. She's moved in with Madison, says I've abandoned our daughter when she needs us most. He looks down at his hands. I told her Madison isn't the only daughter we have. The admission cost him. I can see it in the new lines around his eyes, the slight tremor in his fingers as he passes me the folder. I've revised my will and financial arrangements. You should know what's in there. Later, as Caleb and I clear the dishes, I wonder aloud, is it even possible to have any relationship with them after this, with either of them? Caleb places a plate in the dishwasher with deliberate care. That's not a decision you need to make today. But we both know some lines, once crossed, change the landscape forever. The question isn't whether I'll forgive Madison, it's whether I can ever trust a family system that produced and protected her behavior for decades. Where forgiveness ends and self-protection begins isn't a line drawn in sand. It's carved in stone, with the chisel still warm in my hand. The cream-colored envelope sits on our kitchen counter like a landmine waiting to detonate. I've been staring at it for 20 minutes, the elegant script of my mother's handwriting both familiar and threatening. 3 months since our wedding day, and here it is, the inevitable attempt to rewrite history. You don't have to open it, Caleb says, placing a mug of coffee beside me. His voice is steady, but the slight furrow between his brows betrays his concern. I slide my finger under the flap and pull out an embossed invitation. Family Healing Retreat, it announces in ornate lettering. Below that, my mother has handwritten, to reunite our broken circle. I pull out a second paper Madison's letter, her handwriting eerily similar to mine. 3 months of intensive therapy. I read aloud, my voice flat. She claims she's had a breakthrough about her competitive issues with me. I look up at Caleb. She says she's ready to make amends. Caleb takes the invitation, his jaw tightening as he reads the presumptuous line at the bottom. Ava and Caleb will share their journey to forgiveness. They've already told people we're coming, I realize, the familiar weight of manipulation settling on my shoulders. Dad called yesterday. Apparently, Mom's been telling the extended family it was all a misunderstanding fueled by wedding stress. A misunderstanding, Caleb repeats, the words sharp with disbelief. He sets the paper down carefully, as though it might contaminate him. Your sister drugged me, Ava. I reach for his hand. I know. The restaurant Dad suggested is neutral territory, a new place neither of us has visited before. He's already there when we arrive, looking older than he did 3 months ago, the lines around his eyes deeper. Thank you both for coming, he says, standing to embrace me. He extends his hand to Caleb, who takes it firmly. I've drawn up some conditions. I say once we're seated, sliding a folder across the table. If Mom and Madison want any relationship with us moving forward, these boundaries are non-negotiable. Dad opens the folder, adjusting his reading glasses. Our family therapist helped us draft the document clear, concise, and unflinching in its requirements. Full public acknowledgement of what happened, Dad reads. No private apologies followed by public revision of facts. He nods slowly. It's fair, but Linda. He removes his glasses, pin the bridge of his nose. She still believes Madison just made a mistake. She refuses to see what's right in front of her. That's her choice, Caleb says quietly. But we're not hiding what happened, not even to keep the peace. Dad looks between us, shoulders squared with resolve. I'll stand with you, whatever happens. The family gathering fills my aunt's backyard. Folding chairs arranged in a circle, platters of food on tables draped with white cloths. A family reunion disguised as an intervention. Conversations halt as we enter through the side gate, Dad leading the way. I spot Madison immediately, hairstyled more conservatively than I've seen in years, her expression a practiced mask of contrition. She's lost weight, the angles of her face sharper. Behind her stands my mother, scanning the yard until she spots us. Ava, Caleb! Mom rushes forward, arms outstretched for a public display of reconciliation. I step back. Her arms drop awkwardly. Let's all sit down, calls Uncle Frank, the family patriarch at 78. We're here to heal old wounds. 30 pairs of eyes watch as we take our seats in the circle. Mom has positioned herself between Madison and an empty chair, clearly meant for me. I choose a seat across the circle instead, Caleb and Dad flanking me like sentinels. Before we begin, Uncle Frank continues, I think we should. I'd like to speak first. I interrupt, my voice carrying across the yard with unexpected strength. A ripple of surprise moves through the gathering. In this family, the youngest rarely sets the agenda. I unfold the paper in my hands, though I've memorized every word. 3 months ago, my sister deliberately drugged my fiancé the night before our wedding. She recorded her attempt to stage a compromising situation. These aren't allegations or misunderstandings, they're documented facts. The silence that follows is absolute. Several relatives shift uncomfortably, looking between Madison and me. Trust, once broken, doesn't mend with wishful thinking. I continue. It requires genuine remorse, complete honesty, and changed behavior. We've established boundaries that must be respected before any relationship can be rebuilt. I outline our conditions clearly: no contact without prior arrangement, no gifts, no surprise visits, no social media commentary. And most importantly, no alternate versions of the truth. Madison, I say, looking directly at my sister for the first time, are you willing to acknowledge, here and now, exactly what you did and why? My sister's face transforms, the mask of remorse cracking to reveal glimpses of the calculating woman who stood over my drugged fiancé. Her eyes narrow, darting between sympathetic family faces. I've apologized repeatedly, she begins, voice trembling with practiced emotion. But Ava has always been jealous of my relationships with. That's enough, my mother interrupts, springing to her feet. Ava, you're destroying this family with these accusations and demands. Can't you see your sister is suffering? Your daughter did that when she drugged me, Caleb says, his quiet words landing like stones in still water. Mom gasps as though he slapped her. I stand, my decision made. We've said what we came to say. These are our terms. Anyone who wants a relationship with us will respect them. Dad rises beside us, shoulders straight despite the pain in his eyes. As we turn to leave, a frail voice calls out. I believe you. My great-aunt Elizabeth, 82 and rarely vocal at family gatherings, pushes herself to her feet with her cane. And I'm coming with you. Would you have confronted your family publicly or handled it privately? Ava chose to stand in her truth regardless of who it made uncomfortable. As you'll see in our final chapter, sometimes the family you build is stronger than the family you're born into. The tiny flame dances atop a single candle stuck in a chocolate cupcake. Caleb's eyes reflect the golden light as he sits across from me at our dining table, his hand reaching for mine. Happy first anniversary, he says, voice low and steady, to surviving the most dramatic wedding in history. I squeeze his fingers, to thriving despite it. Our new home wraps around us like a protective cocoon, the modern security system silently keeping watch from every corner. We chose this neighborhood carefully 30 minutes from my old life, and across town, from where Madison still lives with my mother. The distance isn't just physical. Caleb releases my hand to retrieve a small box from his pocket. It's not diamonds, he warns with a half smile. Those are for year 10. Inside rests a delicate silver key charm from my bracelet, engraved on its surface. Truth unlocks freedom. It's perfect, I whisper, blinking back unexpected tears. Pregnancy hormones have ambushed my emotional defenses lately. After dinner, we settle on the couch beneath the gallery wall. We've created photos of our chosen family. Tyler and his wife beaming at our small wedding. Dad standing proudly between us at the lake house last summer. Caleb's parents helping us move in. Conspicuously absent, any trace of Madison or my mother. My hand drifts to the small swell beneath my sweater. Dr. Winters says everything looks perfect. 22 weeks now. Caleb places his palm over mine. The nursery down the hall waits with freshly painted walls and a crib Dad assembled last weekend. Pale yellow stars march across the sky blue, sealing nothing pink, nothing blue. Just the promise of infinite possibility. I had another session with Dr. Chen yesterday, I say, naming my therapist of 11 months. We talked about setting boundaries for when the baby comes. Caleb nods, his jaw tightening slightly. Good. The last thing we need is your mother showing up unannounced with Madison in tow. The violation of trust still sits heavy in his eyes sometimes. His own counselor says the anger may never completely disappear. What Madison did wasn't just a betrayal of me, but an assault on his autonomy. Our joint sessions with Dr. Reeves have given us tools to navigate these waters together. Dad called this morning, I say, changing the subject. He's coming for dinner Sunday. My father visits regularly now, always alone. The divorce papers were finalized 6 months ago after Mom refused to stop enabling Madison's attempts to rewrite history. He seems lighter somehow, as though shedding a lifetime of looking the other way has unburdened him. My phone buzzes with a message. I hesitate before checking a habit born from months of Madison's manipulative texts followed by Mom's guilt-laden voicemails. But it's from cousin Emma, 22 and fighting her own battle with family betrayal. Can we talk tomorrow? My sister and Mom are ganging up again. It how you stayed so strong. Caleb reads over my shoulder, his hand settling protectively on my shoulder. Another recruit for your support group? I nod. The online community I started for others experiencing family betrayal has grown to over 300 members. We meet virtually twice monthly, sharing stories and strategies for holding boundaries without holding grudges. I'll tell her what I tell everyone: family should protect, not harm. I type my response, suggesting a video call tomorrow afternoon. Dad says he's proud of Mena just for standing firm against Madison's continued attempts to twist reality, but for channeling my pain into purpose. The video evidence is buried in a digital folder, no longer needed for validation. The truth has written itself into the fabric of our lives without requiring constant replaying. I catch Caleb watching me, his eyes soft. "What?" I ask. "Just thinking how different you look when you talk about this stuff now. There's no pain in your eyes anymore." He's right. Somewhere between therapy and boundaries and building this new life, the story has transformed from an open wound to a healed scar visible, but no longer bleeding. On our refrigerator, ultrasound photos chart our child's development beside a calendar marking new traditions we're creating. Mother's Day spent with Caleb's family. Thanksgiving at our house with Dad and friends. Christmas morning, just the two soon-to-be three of us before visiting others. As Caleb clears the dessert plates, I study our wedding photo on the mantle. The small gathering looks nothing like the elaborate ceremony we'd originally planned, but the joy in our eyes is genuine, perhaps more so for having been tested by fire. Sometimes losing what you thought was family means finding what family should have been all along. What family traditions or dynamics have you chosen to break to create a healthier future? When did you realize that sometimes love means setting boundaries, not removing them? Share your journey in the comments below.